Welcome to Week 18, AI in Employment and Society. This lesson examines how AI changes tasks, working conditions, and power dynamics. The central rule is that the future of work is shaped by human choices, not technology alone. Consider a customer service assistant. While the promise of AI is faster work and lower costs, we must ask, was the work actually saved or simply moved? It is vital to make every decision visible and evidence-based. Our central workplace rule consists of 5 steps. Define the problem, map how work happens, measure benefits and harms, involve affected workers, and retain the authority to pause or stop. In this lesson, our learning goals include analyzing task changes, distinguishing between automation and augmentation, assessing job quality, protecting worker rights, and designing effective pilot programs. Always begin with the problem, not the tool. Instead of asking where you can use AI, ask what problem you are trying to solve and what evidence you have regarding who experiences that problem. What evidence proves a problem exists? Look for workflow bottlenecks, quality issues like errors or complaints, and the strain placed on people. Establish a clear baseline of performance before implementing any changes. Before choosing AI, consider if a non-AI change might work better. Better staffing, improved training, clearer rules, or simpler software can often address issues more effectively than an algorithmic solution. Who defines the problem? Ensure your process includes the workers performing the task and the users receiving the service, alongside specialists who understand the domain and necessary safety requirements. Remember that jobs are bundles of different tasks. These range from routine steps to complex judgment, relationship management, handling exceptions, and accepting responsibility. AI may alter some, but not all of these. AI exposure does not necessarily mean job loss. The outcome depends heavily on organizational choices and demand. Always use local evidence regarding workflow and skills to understand the potential impact. Task change can lead to multiple outcomes. While a task might become faster or partially automated, it may also create new work, require reorganization, lead to displacement, or even spur growth in new service areas. Map the work thoroughly before changing it. Focus on the purpose, the people involved, the necessary information, what constitutes failure, and who holds accountability when things go wrong. Ensure your plan includes exceptions and professional judgment. Standard cases may be automated, but exceptional cases require interpretation, professional knowledge, and careful management of human consequences. Informal work is still real work. Employees often provide essential coordination, reassurance, and repair that aren't found in standard process charts. Ignoring these tasks can lead to failed implementations. Ultimately, automation transfers specific work to a system, but it rarely removes all human responsibility. The human role in handling exceptions and maintaining accountability remains a critical component of any successful system. Let's look at how augmentation supports people. AI can draft a response, but it requires a worker to review it, and a person to ultimately approve and explain the decision. Always ensure decisions remain visible and evidence-based. AI can create hidden work, including inspecting outputs, repairing errors, recording incidents, and training colleagues. Remember to account for these tasks when calculating time and cost estimates for new systems. Track who gains time and who takes on new responsibilities. Ask if checking is now required and who carries the consequences of errors. Without oversight, support can quietly turn into unpaid review work. Productivity can mean many things, such as higher output, faster time per case, lower costs, or better service quality. Because these measures often conflict, the organization must be explicit about what improvement means. Remember, productivity is not job quality. A system might reduce handling time, while simultaneously increasing worker stress or the frequency of serious errors. Always ask, productivity for whom and at what cost? Measure job quality explicitly. Consider factors like autonomy, workload, safety, privacy, professional development, and fairness. These should be monitored alongside traditional productivity metrics. Algorithmic management changes the power dynamics of a workplace by automating task allocation, pacing, ranking, and monitoring. Even without generative AI, these data-driven systems significantly influence how work is directed and evaluated. A score can look objective without being valid. Precision doesn't guarantee fairness, especially when models rely on incomplete data or questionable assumptions. Workers often find it difficult to challenge these automated scores. Human approval must be meaningful. It requires access to the right evidence, knowledge of system limits, sufficient time to review, and the actual authority to disagree or correct the system's output. Workers and affected individuals deserve clear information and reliable ways to challenge outcomes. Always provide a clear route to fix inaccurate data and access to a person who can address specific circumstances. Employment AI has high-impact consequences, from recruitment advertising to final dismissal. Because these uses directly affect livelihoods, they require strong evidence, robust safeguards, and clear human responsibility. Be aware that recruitment systems can reproduce biases through proxies. Features like postcode, school, or device type can reflect underlying social inequalities, even when names are removed from the data. Validity requires actual evidence, not just vendor claims. Test whether features are truly relevant to the job, verify if errors are distributed equitably, and always offer alternative routes for applicants. Accessibility requires an alternative route. Avoid systems that force everyone to use the same method, such as timed video or specific speech analysis. Provide formats, time, or non-AI options to ensure inclusion. Finally, be cautious about inferring personality or emotion. These claims are often unreliable and intrusive. Note that some workplace emotion recognition uses are now prohibited, so always check current regulation. Workplace data and surveillance systems need clear boundaries. Collecting messages, location, or biometrics does not inherently improve decision-making. In fact, excessive monitoring can reduce trust, increase stress, and blur the boundaries between work and private life. When managing workplace data, apply core protection principles. Define a clear purpose, collect only what is strictly necessary, limit access to authorized users, retain data only as long as required, and remain transparent about monitoring and correction procedures. Skills development is a vital component of AI integration. Workers need domain expertise, AI literacy, and the ability to verify information. Crucially, this learning should take place during paid work hours to ensure the transition remains fair for everyone. Maintain operational resilience. If staff stop practicing essential manual skills, the organization risks becoming overly dependent on specific tools. You must maintain critical knowledge to navigate potential outages, cyber incidents, or vendor failures effectively. Always plan a manual fallback. A plan that only exists on paper is insufficient. Your alternative workflow must be well-staffed, regularly practiced, and have clear triggers for when to activate it during system downtime. Involve your workers in the design process. Those performing the actual tasks understand the nuances of exceptions, emotional labor, and accessibility barriers. Their practical experience is invaluable for identifying true failure modes before a system is deployed. Worker participation must happen early. Involve staff and their representatives before major procurement or implementation choices are fixed. Meaningful consultation requires that stakeholders have the real authority to address and respond to employee concerns. Use the work framework to guide your AI integration. This model consists of 4 key areas: work and purpose, outcomes and rights, rebalancing gains and responsibilities, and keeping worker voice with safe testing. Keep these 4 pillars in mind throughout every project phase. The W in work stands for work and purpose. Begin by identifying the specific problem you need to solve, examining current workflows, understanding how decisions are made, and exploring whether non-AI alternatives could achieve the same results. The O stands for outcomes and rights. When assessing success, look beyond productivity. You must also measure job quality factors like worker autonomy, privacy, fairness, and trust, ensuring that the system remains contestable for those impacted. The R stands for rebalancing. Ask hard questions about who captures time and financial gains, who takes on new checking responsibilities, who bears the burden of transition costs, and who remains ultimately accountable for the work performed. The K stands for keeping worker voice and testing safely. This includes ensuring meaningful participation, setting clear boundaries for pilots, establishing robust complaint routes, and defining clear stop conditions that allow for a safe rollback. Design your pilot with clear limits. Define the exact purpose, a set start and end date, a group of trained participants, and explicit boundaries regarding which tasks are included and which are strictly excluded from the trial. State a precise pilot claim. For instance, you might test how an AI assistant helps 5 employees draft routine responses over 8 weeks, with a human reviewer approving every message before it is sent. Finally, prevent purpose drift. Clearly define approved tasks versus excluded high-impact ones, and establish a process for escalating uncertain cases to a human. Watch closely to ensure the project stays within its original scope throughout the trial.